Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. We are going to discuss about Power Platform plugins, questions and answers. The way I'm structuring the session is first I will ask a question, followed up by an answer. Just stay tuned. Let's get started. What is a plugin in Power Platform? A plugin is a custom business logic that integrates with Microsoft Dataverse to modify or extend the platform's standard behavior. Plugins are executed in response to a specific events such as creating, updating, or deleting records in Dataverse. Question: what are the benefits of using plugins in Power Platform? A plugin enables you to implement custom business logic, automate processes, enforce data integrity, and integrate with external systems. Question: why would I use plugin instead of Power Automate or Power App formulas? Answer: plugins handle complex business logic that's hard to achieve with low code tools. They can also perform actions that require higher privileges or deeper integration with external systems. Question: how do you register a plugin in Dataverse? To register a plugin, use the plugin registration tool available in Power Platform Tools. Connect to the Dataverse environment, select and register the plugin assembly. Question: what stages in the event pipeline can a plugin execute? Plugin can execute pre-validation, pre-operation, and post-operation in three ways. Pre-validation is before the main system operation begins. Pre-operation before the main system operation is executed. Post-operation after the main system operation has been completed. Question: what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous plugin execution? Synchronous execution runs immediately and blocks the main operation until it completes, running within the transaction scope. Asynchronous execution runs in the background after the main operation completes, ideal for long running processes. Question: how can you debug a plugin? Debug a plugin using plugin profiler, remote debugging, or trace logging. There are three ways we can debug a plugin. Let's get into the details of how do you do the plugin profiler. It captures the context of local debugging, remote debugging attached to the IDE and step through the code. Trace logging uses the eye tracing service interface to write trace information for later review. Question: what is the iPlugin execution context interface? iPlugin execution context interface provides context information about the event triggering the plugin, including the message name, entity name, input parameters, output parameters, and the call depth. Question: can a plugin be registered for multiple messages and entities? Yes, a plugin can register for multiple messages or events and entities or tables. Each registration, called a step, can define multiple steps for a single plugin assembly. Question: what is the purpose of secure configuration parameter in plugin? The secure configuration parameter allows passing sensitive data to plugins securely. It is only visible to users within the system administrator or system customizer roles, ensuring sensitive information is protected. Question: how do you handle exceptions in a plugin? Handle exceptions in a plugin using try catch block and throwing an invalid plugin execution exception with a custom error message. This exception is propagated back to the client application. Question: what are the best practices for developing plugins? Keeping plugin logic simple and focused, using eye tracing service for logging, avoiding long running operations in synchronous plugins, using early bound classes for strong typing. Next question: how do you use plugin registration tool? Use the plugin registration tool to register, update, and manage plugins in Dataverse. Connect to your Dataverse environment, import the plugin assembly, register the plugin, and configure the steps and images for plugin execution. Question: what are pre-images and post-images in plugin? Pre-images are snapshots of the entity attributes before the core platform operation. Post-images are snapshot after the operation. They help in comparing data changes during plugin execution. Question: what is the significance of isolation mode in plugin registration? Isolation mode determines the security context in which the plugin runs. Sandbox, isolated mode, provides additional security by running the plugin in a restricted environment, while non-isolated or none mode allows the plugins to run with full trust. Question: can you call external web services from a plugin? Yes, external web services can be called from a plugin. For a long running or network intensive operations, use asynchronous plugins to avoid performance issues because synchronous calls block the execution or block the complete flow. Question: what are the considerations for deploying plugins in a production environment? Thoroughly test in development and staging environments, ensure that proper error handling and logging. Use sandbox isolation mode for enhanced security. Document the plugin functionality and dependencies. Monitor the plugin's performance and system impacts. Question: what are the plugin execution contexts and how are they useful? A plugin execution provides details about the event that triggered the plugin. This includes information such as the message name, entity name or table name, input parameters and output parameters. This context is useful for writing logic that reacts appropriately based on the event details. Question: how can plugins affect transaction management in Dataverse? Synchronous plugins runs within the transaction scope of the event, meaning they can affect transaction management. If a plugin throws an exception, it can roll back the entire transaction, ensuring data integrity, whereas asynchronous plugin runs outside of the transaction context or scope. Question: what are the differences between early bound and late bound classes in plugin development? Early bound classes provide compile time checking, IntelliSense support, and better performance as they are strongly typed. They are generated from the Dataverse metadata. Late-bound classes offer more flexibility but lack compile time checking and IntelliSense support. They are generic entities and attributes, making the code more prone to runtime errors. Question: how can you optimize plugin performance? Minimize the logic within the synchronous plugin. Use asynchronous plugins for long running processes. Avoid unnecessary calls to external systems. Efficiently manage resources and handle exceptions. Use caching where appropriate to reduce repetitive data fetching. This completes our questions and answer session in the plugins. Thanks for stay tuned. Hope you learned something. Looking forward to see you in my next session. Bye for now.